Hello and welcome to the Passion Driven Pioneers interview series. I'm your host, John Channon, and today I'm joined by Daniel Kantor, who is the founder of Kantor Group. Daniel, thank you so much for joining us today.
I've been really looking forward to this. Thanks for the
Great.
invite.
Good. Would you like to get us started with a brief background as to who you are, what you do, and then the business that you're in?
Sure. Who I am? Well, Daniel Kantor. I'm the president, founder, owner of Kantor Group. Uh, I like to, technically, we are a brand strategy consultancy, but I like to tell people we're in the noise reduction business because we help clients simplify, streamline, distill down their marketing messages and sight lines for fast, easy consumption. And we live in such a noisy world that I think the idea of taking that noise out is important. So that's what I do. I've been doing it since 1995 when I started the business.
So, what was the spark that led you to kind of start this business?
Well, if I were to go way back, this is gonna. I'll try to keep this short. I majored in piano in college. I have many interests. I love science. I love math. I'm curious about everything. In my college years as a piano major, I this was right about the time when personal computers were beginning to appear at the personal level. They were no longer corporate tools, but um, so I was curious about that and decided that I thought there had to be a role for computers in music, so taught myself how to program computers, and I ended up after college in the music software business. And it was in that transition from music to business that I learned about marketing and I learned about creating a brand and naming products and designing advertising and packaging. And I fell in love with that side of the business. Turns out my love of music and piano was composition. Full circle is I basically went from creating on the music side to creating on the business side. So I'm a maker, and at heart, I just need to be making things, and I need to make them beautiful, and I need to make them powerful. And that's the part of business I fell in love with. And shortly thereafter, opened up my own firm to continue helping other clients with their own creative challenges and problems. And once I started my own business, I realized I needed my own focus, and that focus became I can't design anything for everyone. First few years of my business, that's what I was doing. I wasn't happy, and I realized there has to be a way of doing this that makes me happier. And that's where I realized I'm not happy if I'm not making things that are simple, clean, beautiful, essential. And that's where this idea of noise reduction came in. That was sort of language I assigned to it to help my clients better understand my way of approaching and what my particular way of delivering products and services looked like. So I didn't just look and sound like any other graphic designer or marketing consultant in the world, of which I remember at the time when I started my business, I'm in Minneapolis. I looked in the yellow pages and I counted 600 other marketing firms like me, 600, and realized I need to have a message that's different and it needs to be real to who I am so I can deliver on it over and over again. And that's how it started.
Well, that's a really cool story. So, it sounds like there were a few things you discovered when you were starting up your own business. Uh, what were some of the skills you brought with you that you leaned on, and what were some of the things that you need to kind of learn at the beginning of all this?
Yeah, well, this is I speak for myself.
Hmm.
Um, but when I first started Kantor Group, I was fairly young. I didn't have a lot of money in my pockets, and I made a pact with the universe that if you can just help me break even, I'll be happy. And I would say I wish what I had done back then is better prepare myself for success. I think I was so hell bent on making sure that I survive, making sure that I don't fail, that I didn't adequately prepare myself for what would happen if it actually works. And so I'd say if there's anything I could tell young business owners is prepare as much for success as you may for failure. Uh, and then get ready to surround yourself with the kind of resources you may need that are going to do the things that you hate to do. Because it didn't take long for me as a creative guy to realize I hate accounting, I hate bookkeeping, I hate all those things that as now I was incorporated. I had reporting requirements and tax requirements and accounting requirements. And so luckily I was able to find a bookkeeper accountant at the time that could fill in those blanks and help me keep growing. But that would have been a deal breaker for me if I couldn't have figured out a way to outload and outsource those things that I hated doing, because that will kill you if you're starting a new business and you end up burdening yourself with things you hate doing. It's not sustainable. So that was the first lesson I learned.
Yeah, I appreciate you sharing that because I think a lot of times people go into this and think they got to do everything when it's maybe better to have somebody do the stuff you don't like to do.
Yeah, and if you have the courage to start your own business, chances are you know something about what you're doing. So prepare for success. What are you going to do if you're the dog that caught the car? You know?
So I'm gonna switch gears here a little bit and just ask you about, what are some of the things that you guys are doing to remain innovative? Because as you mentioned, you looked up in the yellow pages, there were 600 other people. You had a message that differentiated yourselves. But now what are you guys doing to kind of remain on that front edge in your industry?
Well, again, I'm in a business that one could almost say is a commodity. I mean, if you're an ad agency or a marketing firm or a design firm, outside of those industries, the world just kind of sees us all as just creatives, and they all kind of put us all in a box. So to innovate in my profession, I think we need to take our own advice. And one of those caveats is, are you prepared to create your own category? So within, let's say, if I'm in the category of graphic design, or if I'm in the category of advertising or marketing, how am I going to carve out a space in that broad category where I could stake a claim and say, this is my specialty. This is what I'm good at. You're not likely to find these capabilities anywhere else. So creating your own category. And so in my case, I had to keep evolving, and I had to make sure I could. It's important for me that I stay high on the food chain. That when I'm working with clients, I'm working with either ownership, presidents, C-suite people that have the authority and influence to approve or deny the work services that I'm providing. If I'm too low on the food chain, then I'm now more in the category of other marketing agencies.
Hmm.
And I'm just an order taker. No, I'm just doing what the client tells me, which is what a lot of agencies end up doing. So one way I've innovated is I've had to keep crafting newer, better, more relevant products for the kind of customers that I serve, which is the C-suite executive level. They don't care about graphic design. They don't care about design awards. They don't care about all those things that most creatives think are important. So I had to just keep developing products that I knew they cared about and keep delivering those and making them better and shinier as I go.
Okay, good. So would you share with us maybe a few elements of what some of your future plans and goals are that you have for your business?
Yeah, I would love to, what's the word? Maybe innovate. It's a suite of services that I'm currently offering, and I find myself offering it more and more because I'm learning that there's a need for it, and it's a need that's not being met by the traditional marketing firm. So I have this. I've created a brand, a new brand. It's called Pre-Brand, and it's about helping clients, business owners, new business owners, better prepare themselves for the activities of branding and marketing. And I think too often these people find themselves in conversations with creatives, consultants, agencies that know a lot more about this than they do, and they're ill prepared to critique or manage or supervise the very work that they're paying a lot of money for. Uh, so this pre-brand services that I offer better prepare my customers to take on. If let's just say after a pre-brand consultancy, they say, "We're done now, great. Thank you for your time." I have left them with skills and tools and insights and ways of doing their marketing that are going to make them much smarter when it comes to engaging anyone from, say, a copywriter to a website developer to a logo designer, all these creative types you're going to run into when you're starting a business. Uh, the pre-brand skills and tools and services that I offer better prepare you to be engaging at the brand level when you're ready to start branding. So this is why I call it pre-brand. The
Mhm.
tagline I'm thinking about might be something like first things first, because in many ways I'm thinking you're not ready and you have no business talking to a web developer about your new website because you can't answer these five fundamental questions, or you don't know how to critique A, B, and C when it comes to designing something. It's these kinds of skills. So my innovation would be to kind of put all of these into an online course that I would love to make available to people, so I can multiply myself through this online courseware.
Would that online course be predominantly for their marketing teams, or would it be for their organization, or would it be, kind of who do you see that course is really going to be for?
I think it could be for anyone that is engaged at the nose cone of the business's messaging and sight lines. When I say sight line, it would be any part of your business that the outside world gets a glimpse of. It could be a sign on your window, it could be your website, it could be stickers on your car, your business cards, brochures. Those are all sight lines. And anyone that's engaged in strategizing and developing and managing those front end brand messages. Anyone involved with branding, I guess, in general, would be a good fit for this product. Ideally, I think the people that will take the most seriously will be the owners or executives that have a stake in the business.
Yeah, because I could see this in an organization, supporting their communications team, right? Both
Yeah.
internal and external, right? And supporting their investor relations team, right? And
Yeah, I
so,
mean, too often no one's on the same page. I mean, I can give you a great example. This is an exercise I'll put some of my clients through, and I'll just say, what is a brand? And I'll ask five different people, and I'll get five different answers. And not one of them is correct in my professional opinion.
mhm.
So there is that subjectivity to create creativity within business that I think needs to be less subjective and, quite frankly, less creative until you've satisfied very specific criteria that I find none of my clients have ever been taught. They haven't, no one's helped them understand what is the criteria, for example, of a really good logo. How do you know how to critique a logo if you don't have that criteria clear? And no one's taught you how to do that. Without that, it just becomes a lesson of whether I like it or not, or whatever my spouse thinks, because I don't know what to think. So I take it home and show it to somebody else and see what they think. It's a shocking to me, the critical business decisions that get made at that level,
Yeah,
because it's so objective.
yeah, that's interesting. That's really good. So, Daniel, knowing that this show is going to be targeted towards people who are going to be either thinking about starting up a business or maybe in their first few years of business, what do you have any final thoughts or words of advice you'd like to share with our audience today?
Be prepared to understand the needs and wants and the pain points of your target audience, your customers, or whatever you call them that you're going to be selling your products and services to. Don't be the, I'll use an analogy, don't be the tractor manufacturer that talks about how great the tractor is when they have no idea how to talk about the problems the farmer has that need to be solved by your tractor. And I think in the absence of clear understanding of what your client's pain points are, the only thing you have left to do is talk about yourself. And I'll just say that'll put people to sleep every time.
Mhm.
So understand the pain points and the needs and wants of your target audience. Be prepared to dissect them into multiple personas if you have to. I've got one client, for example, that targets, it's a very sophisticated product that involves high-end fabrication and manufacturing. So they have to talk to architects and engineers, mechanical contractors, general contractors, surgeons, hospitals, administrators, infection control people. That's like 7 different customer types, and they all have different needs and wants.
Mm.
So you can't tell me that every one of those customer types is going to be ready to hear the same message.
Mm-mm. Yeah, I wouldn't think.
So if you're a business owner or you're starting a business, who is your customer? How many different types of customers do you have, and what are their needs and wants at an emotional pain point level? If I would say anything, if you're going to prepare yourself to be doing any branding or marketing, be clear about that. Otherwise, you're just talking about yourself, which doesn't really get you anywhere.
That's really good. And I appreciate you sharing that, especially from a marketing perspective.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for your time today, Daniel.
It was my pleasure. Thanks for asking.
Yeah, no, it was great meeting you and learning more about your entrepreneurial journey and the space that you're in. And to everyone watching, I look forward to seeing you in our next episode.